Hi, it's me again, and it's the next day. The epoxy is dried on the wing and on this flap, and the next step is we're just going to sand off the edges of this. Use 150 dry sandpaper, and you just kind of sand along here, and you'll notice it just cuts it off like a knife. So here we go. Cut this so it gets away from here, and since this piece is really easy, I'll go through the whole thing with you on it. This is why you wanted to have some of the epoxy go out over the edge, because see, that makes it brittle here. If it isn't brittle there, you'll get some little fuzziness, but don't worry about that, you'll take care of it in the next coat. Okay, and here's a little piece that's still hanging on. It's a dear life. So there, now this is done. This half of this one is done, and now I'll put a piece on this side today, and then I'll be back tomorrow with that. Now, just keep the camera here, Judy.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's the wing we did yesterday, and the same thing, you just sand it off. I'll cut this in here in this wheel well. It just makes it a little easier to when you're sanding it. But so you just sand on these edges and cut it off, and I won't make you watch this whole thing here on this, except I do want to show you. Here's where you discovered that you had a kind of a booger there. Well, it's no problem. Or if you have a little piece where there's sometimes the glass is humped up, just sand it off, because we don't care. See, I've just broke that off. Sand it here till it's flat. And this, and what we'll do now is on the second coat, I'll just put a little bit of epoxy there. It won't have any glass there ever, but you'll never know the difference. So again, that's why I said don't worry, don't panic if you find something under your stuff. So this is going to, then when I'm through cutting this all off, I'm going to do this side, and we'll be back the next day. And by the way, if you're using polyester resin instead of, with the West epoxy, I wait a day. The polyester resin, as soon as it hardens, you can go into the next step. So that's all for this video, and I'll be back for the next step.